All right, Mark.
How's it going? Are you all right?
Not bad yourself.
Good, good.
How's life treating you now? You're still with having that coffee shop, and is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. I just got myself a coffee actually from my coffee shop.
Not bad. Have you been keeping up to date with Celtic and everything that's been happening there?
Bits and pieces, yeah, bits and pieces.
I saw when
Won
Ange
the
was,
league, yeah,
yeah, won the league on Wednesday night, won the league.
yeah.
I saw when Ange was at Celtic, he had said you're proud of him for flying the flag. How pleased have you been with him, having him do everything done at Celtic, but now go to the Premier League and fly the flag for Australians and England now?
How do I? What was the question
How
again?
proud are you of him now moving
Oh,
down?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, Ange is, you know, being from Australia, people have automatically they have this sort of thing as, like, what do you know about football and that. So we are. There's a lot of people down under who know a lot about football, and Ange is sort of, I think there's been a lot of us footballers who have proven that over the time, but as coaches, not that many. And I don't know if there's has there ever been a a coach that's an Aussie coach that's coached in the UK at all. I'm not sure if there has been. So he is a pioneer for a lot of us Aussies, and what he done up at Celtic, and even before that, everybody's, I hear a thing, Ange is an overnight. It took Ange 30 years to be an overnight success. It's just that people haven't seen his path. He had a. I remember him, 20 years ago, and he was already at it. And I'm just happy that he's got to a point where people, the mainstream media and whatever and fans all around the world can actually recognize, his ability.
And Celtic have had quite a lot of Australian players over the years, yourself, Tom Rogic. But one of them just now is Marco Tilio, and
Mhm.
he's obviously back on loan with Melbourne City. Have you been able to
Yeah.
see a lot of him these last 6 months?
At Melbourne City.
Yeah,
No, I don't really. I live in Croatia, mate.
yeah,
So
so you're not
I'm
really.
not. Yeah, I don't really see many of the games. No,
So
no, I
let's
don't.
go back to your time at Celtic then. When you first signed, you'd actually went back home to Australia
Mhm,
because you were, I think, in your own words, you were too stressed to play football.
mhm.
How big a decision was that for you to make, considering that mental health wasn't a big thing as it is now back then?
It was very, very stressful time for me. Like when I signed and I went over there, and I took the view that I'm just going to be straight up with. It was Joe English at the time. I said, I went to him and I said, look, I've had a hard time where I've come from. I need to just, get some time to recoup a little bit because I was. People don't understand the amount of stress a lot of these footballers are under. Non-stop pressure of performing and whatever, and you have people who around the world they struggle to do their exams, where some people commit suicide because of the stress of doing their exams, you know what I mean, like at what are they, GCSEs and things like that. So footballers are constantly under huge amounts of stress. Everybody's on the side, they look at it and they think, well, you're getting paid a lot of money and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you are getting paid. You're getting paid a lot of money, but you're still got to deal with a lot of pressure. And some people can, some people can't. And some people takes time to get there, and some people never get there, and that's why probably they don't make it to the highest level. Um, and for me at that time, I just said to Joe, I said, look, I need a bit of a break. I need to recover, and he was really, really good. He was so good, with it. And he said, no worries, you go and uh, when you're ready, come back. And he was top,
And
and I thank him for that.
when you came back to Celtic, you excited fans, so did that give you the kind of uplift to continue playing the sport?
Sorry, what is it? What was the?
When you came back to Celtic the February time for the second half of the season, you excited the fans and they were happy with your performances. Was that
Okay.
something that gave you an uplift to continue playing football?
Look, you know what? When I came back, I think I was 2 or 3 weeks in Australia, and I came back and I had to sort of regain my fitness a little bit, and I was playing in the reserves. I played a few games in the reserves and training with the team, but played some, just to get match fitness. And I remember the first time I came on at Celtic Park off the bench. The crowd was just unbelievable. I really, really, I never experienced something like that before. They were so supportive. And I thought, like when I came on, I think I came on the last 20 minutes and all that. I honestly did not know where my ass was or my head was, just the sheer excitement, of coming on and playing in front of 62,000 people at Celtic Park. It was just something special. And I said to myself, you know, I, I, I I really want to do well here.
Yeah. And you got to before Henrik Larsson broke his leg, you were his striking partner.
Mhm.
What was it like playing with one of the greatest to ever play for Celtic and somebody who went on to play for Manchester United and Barcelona?
Yeah. Henrik, I love playing with Henrik. I think one of the things with him was that he was a really, really good strike partner. Not just because he knew how to score goals, but he wasn't a selfish player. He usually strikers are very selfish, and as soon as they get a sniff, they have a shot. It doesn't matter if somebody else was in a better position or not. Whereas Henrik was one of those one. If he saw you in a better position, he'd always pass you the ball. And just the way he was a true gentleman. I loved playing up front with him, and I liked his company off the field as well. So um I was very lucky to have a strike partner like him.
There's a story that my granddad told me about half time in the Scottish Cup against Inverness. Obviously, I'm a little bit young. I wasn't even born then, but what
Oh, you
actually
must
happened?
be,
Did
you
you get
must
your
be
boot?
you must be very young, man. If your granddad tells you that
Yeah,
story, or I must be very old.
I'll go with I'm the young one.
Go on.
So what actually happened? Did you throw your boots across the change room and just say to John Barnes, "I'm not playing for you again"? What's your side of the story there?
My side of the story is that so we were losing. I think it was 2-1 at halftime. Was it?
I
What
think
did
so.
your granddad say?
It
Did
was
he say
definitely
2-1?
losing. Yeah, they were
Okay.
losing. Remember that
We were
part?
losing, and to be honest, we had been conceding goals, regularly before that. Not just that game, but we'd been conceding goals in a lot of these games. And at the time, I was top scorer in the league. you know. And a lot of times in games we would be us strikers would be having to score 3-4 goals just to win the game because we were conceding a lot of goals. That was my point of view. And we come in a cup match and we've conceded two stupid goals. And one of the assistant coach had a go at me at half time. Like, well, he was he was sort of questioning my commitment to the team, whereas I thought I was, through the whole season and also in that game, I thought I was 100% committed, And what happened was I'm a pretty stubborn bugger. You don't get to you don't get to you don't get to that sort of level, and if you're not, and I was a little bit hard headed, and I said to him, what I said to him was, if I'm not good enough to play, put somebody else on who is. That's what I said to him.
And that was it.
Yeah, I said, if you think I'm not good enough to play, then put somebody else on who's better.
And just finally, do you have any regrets about anything you ever managed to do at Celtic? Anything about leaving potentially when Martin O'Neill came in before the European Cup final run?
But look, the thing is, again, my time at Celtic was also like that. We had changed. When I got there, Joe English was the coach. Then John Barnes came in, Kerry Dalglish. Then we had uh, I think 3 or 4 coaches in a year and a half. And the situation wasn't a good one in terms of the dressing room. There was a lot of unhappy players who a lot of the players were unhappy that John Barnes had brought in some of their players, some of these players. So, the players that were playing regularly beforehand were upset that these new guys were in, and everybody thought that. So it wasn't a happy camp before Martin O'Neill came in. And then I got an offer to go to Leeds, and I thought, and Martin O'Neill called me. Actually, I was in Australia, and Martin O'Neill called me, and I said, "Look, mate, you know, the situation. I didn't know what was going to happen for. I didn't know, to be honest, I didn't really know much about Martin O'Neill at the time. I was raised in Australia or whatever. I didn't really know much who he was or whatever. And I said, look, I've got this offer to go play in the Premier League, and the situation at Celtic is not a good situation. So that was that.